Hey, how you guys doing? I wanted to put up a video about my fish tank. I just wanted to give any pointers or tips on how to do a turtle tank with a lot of fish in it. This here is about a 120 gallon tank that I have only filled up to around 100 gallons. And I've had it for about 2 years and it's been going very well. I've had all this fish for about 6 months, and I've had Bubba for about 5 years. He was given to me by a lady that couldn't really take care of him anymore. She had him for 15 years. She got him when he was a little baby, and he grew up to almost, I would say, 10 inches. And she said she couldn't take care of him anymore. She had him in a 20-gallon tank, and she couldn't lift up the tank anymore. To lift him up, she felt bad because he was so big for such a small tank, and I took him in and gradually gave him a bigger tank until I settled with this one. This tank was given to me by a lady that knew I needed a fish tank. She was a friend of mine, or she is a friend of mine, and she said she had one that was donated to her, but it had a crack or a leak in it. So when I grabbed it up, it definitely had a leak in it. It was filled it up about a quarter of a way, and it had leaks in one of the corners. So I took off all the sealant and I put non-fungal silicone sealant on it, and it's been doing very good. It's food grade, so it won't affect the fishes or the turtle, and it's been holding up very good. I had done this turtle setup a long time ago, and it always has worked for me. What I do is I get a PVC pipe, I cut it down to whatever a height I want to reach it, and I connect them with these PVC connectors. Some of them did need adapters, so I screwed on the adapter and it fit really well. He has a rough time because he's so large, almost a foot wide, long, so climbing up the turtle tank. So I put these little grips that I got from Walmart, and they do very well for him, and he grips it very well. Inside I just got him in a little tub. It's filled with some gravel on the other side, so the other side kind of pops up and he's closer to the heat lamp and the UV lamp, and he loves it. There's a little bit of moss or algae growing on the side right there, which doesn't affect him and doesn't spread, and I'll show you why in a little minute. I have around, I would say, 30 fish that won't grow more than 3 or 4 inches, except for my red-tailed shark, who's probably hiding in the cave right now. He's still very young, so he's still timid. Inside I have tiger barbs, golden barbs, giant Danios. I think they're called rounded barbs, but they're also called snakehead barbs. And they're pretty peaceful community for having so many semi-aggressive fish, and it's just because I have such a large school of him. Bubba did try to eat many of them in the beginning. He still has a rough time because he's so large, but every once in a while he would catch one. He was interested in one right now, and that's why I put this big rock in the middle. Not only does it slow him down, but it also gives the fish ample time to get away from him and hide. And this little cave and plant also do that as well. And I got 2 aeration stones on each side, which do more than enough for fish. What I have set up for a filtration is a Fluval fx4. The Fluval fx4 I love. I love it so much. It's amazing how much beneficial bacteria can grow in there and take care of this. A lot of people ask me, why'd you go for something so large for such a small tank? This fx4 is made for like a 250-gallon tank, and the main reason that I got it is because of this big guy right here. Bubba makes so much waste that I needed something that does at least twice the amount of gallons that I have. He takes these big poops that are probably the equivalent of having 20 more fish in that tank. So I needed a Fluval fx4. I use Biomax. Was it the I used the filtration. I forgot the name, but it's a filtration bag that gets the ammonia out of it and also clears it out. I also have the beneficial bacteria sponges in there. As you can see, I got all my Fluval stuff in my bags, and carbon and some gravel. This didn't come with it. This is actually a UV sterilizer that I got from a saltwater tank store. Because this tank is right next to my sliding screen glass door. I had a big algae problem about a year ago, and I couldn't really figure out how to get rid of it without chemicals. I really did not want to use chemicals. So I received this, I bought this UV sterilizer from the store. It was pretty expensive. It was about $150, but it was just an amazing piece of equipment that I bought. When I bought it, it wasn't compatible with my fx4 at all, so I had to kind of rig up this connection, which basically gets the water out from here. It goes through the UV sterilizer, and then it goes back throughout this the fx4 hose. And I got a bubbler right there, heavy duty bubbler. I never had a problem with fx4. It was a little hard to understand how the nitrogen cycle works and how the beneficial bacteria gets built up in there, but after you do your research and you study, it's very easy to understand. If you guys got any questions, please ask. For the fish that I have in here, I use multiple things to help them acclimate when I do water changes. I do stress guard, API. I use mostly API, chemicals or conditioners or anything, or bacteria, because I just feel like it's the best. The only thing that I do use that's Fluval is their cycle guard, which has all the beneficial bacteria that helps establish more bacteria after you've done a water change. The only thing that I use from API is the stress guard. I do use a little bit of the stress cyme if there is I've noticed maybe some dead algae in there, or if I notice there's some sludge or waste in the bottom. Stress cyme is mostly used for sludge or bacteria that builds like a bad bacteria or waste that builds up in the bottom, and the stress cyme just kind of breaks it down so it can be run through the filter. And the bottom is very clear. I used to have pebbles in here, as you can see. I still do have some, and it the ammonia just got so high when it came to the nitrate and the nitrite that I just took it all out. It didn't really seem that much more better. It looks a little bit more sleeker and cleaner. As you can see, some of the PVC pipe has come out there, but it's not really a big deal. It still holds up very, very well as long as the main grid is still well connected. So I've had Bubba for about 5 years. So he's about 20 years old, and he's very smart. He's just always hungry because he's so huge. So I have to put him on a diet. I feed him the basic turtle food, Reptamin, and I usually just give him kale, carrots, or celery, something that hydrates him as well as being low fat and high protein if I can find it. But he loves carrots. And as you can see, I got some swordtails in there. Most of these fish aren't even fast enough to outrun Bubba, but because of this cave that's in the way and these other little kind of ornaments, he kind of gets a little lost in them, especially since I have so much fish and he just can't concentrate on one and he just loses them. Or some of them can be very fast, like the giant Danios. They're extremely fast. I actually got the giant Danios as feeder fish. They're on sale. They're about $1, and I thought Bubba would like them. I used to feed him goldfish, and he would catch them very well. But after implementing this kind of a design where it would stop him from getting the fish, the giant Danios I live very well. You can see I got that red-tailed shark right there. He's still very small. He'll grow up to about 5 to 6 inches, maybe even more. This tank is big enough for him. He'll be the only large fish in this tank when he grows up. If he does become aggressive, I'll take him out and put him in another tank. I am planning on doing a third tank. I have another tank in my arts and craft room, and I'll show you guys that a little bit later. If you guys got any questions, let me know. Did have a long hard time figuring out the fish hobby, because I've only been doing it for about, maybe I would say 6 months. I got my first fish. I've had Bubba for 5 years, so I had this tank and this setup for about 2 years. I did have another turtle, but something had happened where he just randomly died. My wife says that he either probably drowned or he choked or something. He didn't look like he died from natural causes. He just looked like he got sick, or maybe he did die from natural causes. Maybe he just did get sick, or something happened. I couldn't tell. So after that, Bubba seemed a little lonely, so I just got him a whole bunch of fish aside from another turtle. He does very well by himself. When I did have the other turtle, Obi, here, he didn't like his company and just didn't really enjoy being around him. So he did look like he was very solitary, because he was solitary for about 15 years before I got him. So he does very well, and the fish, I do see that the fish entertain him, and he doesn't really go after them as much, because I think he does enjoy their company. And that's pretty much it. If you guys got any questions, just ask me. The stand that I had this on was actually pretty interesting. It was made for my stepson when he was younger, so he can sleep on it, and it's meant to hold a lot of weight. So it isn't a store-bought stand by any means. It's just like a stand for a bed. And after he outgrew it, I decided to use it for a tank, because it can hold so much weight that I thought it would be perfect for a tank stand. This kind of edge that I have here used to be my old bed side kind of banister grid or something, and we ended up getting a whole new setup for our bed, and we just put it on the ends over here to kind of aesthetically cover up this Fluval tank a little bit, because it does look a little like ugly without a traditional tank stand where you can just put the filter underneath it, underneath the tank, that is. But all in all, I'm very happy with this setup. Kind of made everything up as it is. I know a lot of people use egg crate for turtles, but Bubba's so big and he weighs well more than a pound or two, where he has a rough time with the egg crate. So as you can see, he's climbing up the mat that I got him, and he climbs up very easily. Sometimes he has a rough time if he starts off in the edge, or in the corner, I should say. But he gets up there. He's very strong. I feed him a high protein diet, so sometimes he does try to get over this, or he gets a little startled. Sometimes he tries to get over this, but he can't, and he usually just does a backflip inside the water. But thank you so much for you guys watching, and if you guys got any questions, please ask me. And I don't use any turtle conditioners, nothing for turtle slime or anything like that. Bubba's never really needed any of that stuff, so I never really wanted to expose them to any of those chemicals. I usually just put the chemicals for the fish, and then it does well enough for him. I know a lot of people, they use certain things like turtle sludge remover and all these things for turtles, but he doesn't really need that. As long as you got a good filter and a good water conditioner and good beneficial bacteria, it'll help him as well. He's been very happy and just hanging out. And I do have a heater in here. I forgot to mention that. I have an Aqua heater that keeps the temperature around 75, 76 for the fish. And they've been very active since I got it. Usually my air conditioner is very low, so I have it around 65 or 70. And the fish were getting a little sluggish and very slow. And then I bought the heater, and now they're very active, and they look like very normal now. So that's a good investment that I got. It only costed around $50. Usually everything that I bought in here, I bought bit by bit, and it's worked out very well. And the fish are getting larger. I have them on a high protein diet. I use Fluval bug bites, which is very good for them. They love it compared to goldfish flakes or tropical fish flakes or anything like that. The fish flakes just make too much waste. They really do. I don't really enjoy giving them the flakes at all. I did give them tropical fish chips which does keep the tank clean, but they don't look like they like it as much as the Fluval bug blights could be. They're a little bit more natural because they not only they are made from sustainable bugs, but they just seem to like the flavor a lot more. And if they like the flavor a lot more, they'll eat a lot more, and then they'll get bigger. Well, thank you so much for watching, guys, and let me know what you guys think about my setup. And I'll post up a new video of my other tank that I have in the other room. And thank you so much. Bye bye.